Hi everyone, my name is Mary and welcome back to Quinique. Today in this video for the Granny Triangle Cardigan, we are going to do two things, and the two things we're going to do is going to be the pockets, and we are going to be crocheting a border around that scarf that we made. I am also putting music in this video, so let me know down in the comment section what you think of it. And I changed out the wallpaper on my desk. I wanted it to look a lot nicer and prettier, so hopefully you like it. The reason why I also have, my sleeves in the background is because I redid them. So I got really upset and I did not like that the sleeves were very long. So what I ended up doing was taking out one of the whole triangles and then just putting the quarter triangle next to this triangle right here. Okay, and then I just did 2 rows of the granny stripe on one half of the sleeve, and then I single crocheted on the other side. So I'm showing you that right now. I am going to do it with this sleeve right here. So as you can see, I finished this sleeve, taking off one of the triangles and then just putting on the quarter triangles, and then I will single crochet on half of it, and then on the other half I will do the granny stripe in the two rows. Okay, so the tools you're going to need to make these items, we're going to do the pockets first, but you are going to need a needle with a large eye hole. You're going to need some thread, because the way we're going to make these pockets is we are going to sew them first after we crochet them, and then we're going to sew them onto the cardigan. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and your J10 5.75 millimeter crochet hook. Then when we're done with that, then we will crochet the border. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some scrap yarn that I have left over. This is Burnett Baby Blanket and it's in the color blue. And then I have my Baja Blue in this lighter color, so I'm going to use this first. Once this runs out, I'm going to add this to the scarf. We're going to do 4 rows. They're going to be in half double crochet. It'll look really pretty. So let's get started with the video. Alrighty, we are back. Make sure to grab your Baja Blue yarn and your purple yarn. We are going to be viewing it in this stripe color, where it's 2 rows of Baja and 2 rows of purple. And we are going to be doing the half double crochet back loop only. So that's where we get these really cool ridges. You will be doing 4 of these, so I have 1 and 2 right here. I have to do 2 more. I'll do 1 on camera and then I'll do the other one off camera. And the reason why is because on your cardigan, we'll just grab the sleeves right here, there are these holes, okay? And so if you put a pocket here, guess what? You're going to have holes in the back, and your fingers are going to go right through it. Whatever you want to put in your pocket, like your cell phone, lipstick, chapstick, you name it, it will go right through these holes. And so if we do a double pocket such as this one, and we put it up against the cardigan, then you won't have anything that will go through those holes. So you are going to need to make 4 of these. And yes, when we put this pocket onto the cardigan, just as an example, we will be sewing this all the way around. And so what we'll do is we will sew all the way around the pocket first, and then once we put it onto the cardigan, then you will sew only the back portion, and you will move this out of the way. So that way you're not sticking your hands in 2 different sections like that. The other thing I would suggest is grab your cardigan, try it on, and put your hands onto the cardigan and figure out exactly where you want your pockets to be. Once you figure that out, put stitch markers on that cardigan so you know how long you want your pockets to be or how short you want your pockets to be. Okay, just to be really quick about it. Okay, so let's get started. So when you grab your yarn, Okay, so in order to start the pocket, we're going to make a slip knot. Okay, and then you're going to put that onto your hook. And in order to start this, what we'll do is foundation half double crochet. Okay, and to do a foundation half double crochet, you're going to make a chain of 2. Okay, so yarn over and pull through to make 1 chain, pull up on that loop, yarn over and pull through for 2 chains. You made 2 chains. Then you're going to yarn over and go back into that first chain that you made. Grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Make sure these are not tight. Yarn over, since you have 3 loops on your hook, and just pull through that first loop. That will make you a chain. Then you will yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. You now have a half double crochet and a chain. To do that again, yarn over and go into that chain that you just made. Grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook, make sure they're loose. Yarn over and just pull through that first loop to make that chain. Then yarn over and pull through all 3. You always are working on the bottom of your work, then you will flip it over to work on the top. We are doing the half double crochet, the foundation half double crochet. So for row 2, we can start the back loop half double crochet, and I will show you how to do that. One more time. You're going to go into the stitch, yarn over, go into that chain right here that you just made, go under both of the bars, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through that first loop to make a chain. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through to make a half double crochet. We just made 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So 4. This also is, so we just made 1, 2, 3, and 4. This side piece right here is a chain. So if you were to chain X amount of numbers and then you would skip those chains to make your half double crochet right there, that is what we also did. So that also counts as a stitch. So we actually did 4. I'm going to put this down for just a moment. And let's see how many I did on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. I did 24 half double crochets, okay? If you want yours to be shorter, make them less. Make less half double crochet, foundation half double crochets. And if you want more, then add more. For mine, I felt it was fine. This is how the pocket is going to sit on the cardigan, and my hand will go right through like this. So then that way the stripes are up and down instead of sideways. If you like them sideways, you can do them sideways. That is how we're going to do it. I am going to finish my 24 half double crochets, and then I will come back and show you how to do the half double crochet back loop only. Alrighty, once you have made your 24 foundation half double crochets, make sure to count them first and then flip your work upwards. Okay, so once you flip your work upwards, also turn it towards you real quick, yarn over and make that first chain. So we'll be working in that first stitch right here. Now when you do a half double crochet back loop only, you'll see these stitches on the very top. So that first stitch right here is a front loop, and then this stitch is called your back loop. So you will just yarn over, go into that stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. And you will be, actually what I ended up doing, I apologize. In your first chain, you will actually do a half double crochet. And then you will do the back loop in the second one. So that way we have some straight edges here. So then when you turn your work in that first stitch right there, that's your front loop, and that stitch is your back loop. You will yarn over, go into that back loop right there, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. you're going to do a back loop half double crochet into every stitch except for your last stitch. Into your very last stitch, we will do just a regular half double crochet, and then if you choose to, if you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, I am going to change to the purple, or the lilac is what I call it. I will meet you at the end. Alrighty, so I made it 2 stitches before the end. We're just going to do a half double crochet into that back loop. And into your very last stitch, be careful, these are stitches right here. You want that very top one. We're just going to yarn over, go under both of the bars for a half double crochet. Then you're going to grab your scissors and you will cut your yarn. Yarn over and pull through, and then just tighten. Okay, and that was row number 2. For row number 3, you're going to put your hook in there, grab your purple yarn, make sure you have it ready, put it onto your hook like this, and pull through. We're just going to do the quick tie-on method. Sometimes the yarn tail can get in your way. Make sure you have enough yarn so that way you can make a nice little knot. Okay, so now you have that tied on. I'm going to put our hook back in there, grab our working yarn and pull through, and then yarn over and make a chain. Then you're going to turn your work, and you're going to do this. You're going to repeat row number 2 for the rest of the rows. Now it's very easy to count these because now that you have that ridge, that's 2 rows. As for this one, I made 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. I made 12 rows and landed on a purple row, and I did it every 2 rows. Okay, so you're going to repeat row number 2 for the next 12 rows. Actually 10, because we already did row 1 and 2, and this is the repeat. You're going to put 1 half double crochet, just a regular one, under both bars at the beginning and at the end, and then you're going to do a half double crochet back loop only into every stitch in between. Okay, so remember, half double crochet in the beginning, half double crochet in the last stitch, regular half double crochet, back loop, half double crochet into every stitch in between. Okay, so I will meet you back once I have 12 rows done, and then we will sew all 4 pockets together. And what I mean by that, let's put that down for just 1 second, because I'm doing my pockets this way. Pull the camera out. Since I'm doing my pockets this way, I am going to sew from here all the way down, all the way around, and all the way back up. And then I already have stitch markers on my cardigan, so I'll grab my cardigan and then we will sew this onto the cardigan, pull that back, and sew this back portion. Okay, so I will be back in 12 rows for us to do all of that. Okay, so I made it 2 stitches before the end, and I just have to do 1 half double crochet back loop only, and then 1 regular double crochet into the very last stitch. And then I just need to cut off my yarn, yarn over, pull through, and pull tight. And that is our 12 rows of the front and back pockets. That's what I'm going to call these, the front pocket and the back pocket. And yes, I also did the second one for the second pocket, so those 2 are done. And then I have the other pocket on this side, so one side is going to be a little darker and the other side is going to be a little lighter. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is put your hooks and your yarn and off to the side. Make sure that you sew in all your strings. If you don't mind them being there, then don't worry about it. What I did is I just sewed it in a little bit and then I just cut them off. And that way I didn't really have to sew them in. I am not really going to sew in a lot of these strings. So what we'll do is I'll sew this one in real quick. And the best way to sew in your strings is get your large eye hole. And I like to put it over the needle like this. So it wraps it, pull it out, and then pull it right through that eye hole. And then just pull your yarn right through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some stitches, just like this one and this one, and I am just going to go right through them. Okay, just like this. That came out. A lot of times your thread, or excuse me, your yarn will come out of your needle. And then I'm just going to go back through my stitches real quick, just like this. Okay, just like that, if you could see it. And I'm not going to pull too tight because I don't want this stitch to be tight. But I'm going to tap on it, or I'm going to hold it and then pull on it. And as you can see, it's nice and into the stitches, and you don't really have to worry too much. And then I'm going to go right back through those stitches one more time. And I like to hold it with my thumb and forefinger as I pull. And then that way we are done. And then you just grab your scissors and you cut. And that is how you sew in your strings. Okay, so now that you have your needle and your thread, make sure your thread is pretty long. Okay, because we are actually going to be doing a sewing project. Cut your thread, put it onto your needle like so. Make sure you have both ends like this and put them together. I like to make sure they're straight, and then I like to pull on my thread. Then I like to take my two strings and wrap it around my finger like this, pull this one up, grab my yarn, my thread tails and put it over, pull on this loop and pull right over, and then grab those tails and just pull, and you've made yourself a knot. Okay, so once you have your needle threaded like so, grab your pockets like this and determine which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. For me, they both look the same. Maybe. Yeah, they both look the same. And to be quite honest, I'm going to turn this one around so that way the ridges are kind of the same. Actually, I'm going to flip mine this way. So then that way, this side is going to be on the inside, and this side is going to be on the outside. Same with this one. As you can see, the ridges, and then on this side it looks like it's knitted. The knitted is going to be on the inside. Okay, and we're going to put it purple to purple just like this. Okay, and you can start in any corner if you would like. I think I'm going to start in this corner right here. Yes, I turned it, so I'm going to start right here in this corner where these yarn tails are, and I am going to move them out of the way, and we're going to turn them to the side. Make sure you have an opening, so make sure you know which side is your opening. Okay, grab your needle and thread, make sure it's ready to go, and you're going to go right into those stitches right here. You're going to go into this stitch and this stitch, which is really nice, and you're going to pull your thread like this. Move those yarn tails right out of the way. That's why I tell you to sew them in, but I should have sewed mine in. Make sure you have a nice loop like this, okay, if you can see that, and then you're going to pull on that, okay, and you're going to pull it nice and tight. Make sure those bunny ears are straight, okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go in and out. So I'm going to go in through these stitches right here, and then I'm going to go in through these stitches right here. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to pretty much hide the thread in your work. Okay, so as you're doing this, make sure you do it all the way through, all the way to the bottom, or else you're going to forget where you're going in and where you're coming out. Go nice and slowly so that your thread does not knot, doesn't make knots. And then just put the stitches together like I'm doing right here, and just go in and out and have it facing you like this. Okay, hopefully you can see this. I'll try and move my lights. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this all the way down until I get to the bottom, and then we will turn our work and we will sew the bottom portion, and then we'll come back up through the side. And the side should be the same. Since you have stitches like this, you'll have stitches on the bottom as or on the other side like this, so you'll just line these stitches up and go in and out. But I will show you how to do the bottom, so I'll meet you down at the bottom. Okay, so we are reaching the bottom. I have 2 more stitches before I'm actually there, so I'm just going to go right into these 2 stitches, and we are now working on the bottom. So turn your work towards you like this. And one more thing I forgot to mention was I might actually be revealing the cardigan in this video, so if you could just stick around, that would be fabulous. So for this one, we're going to do the same thing as well. As you can see, I just went up through that stitch, and then I'm just going to go right through these stitches right here. Wherever you feel that you can put your needle into, go ahead and put your needle into there. Make sure to keep your colors lined up if you did colors like I did. So I'm keeping the blue in the blue section and the purple into the purple section, just like this. Keep it nice and lined up. You can also use pins, so that way you can pin your work. But this is all I'm doing, is I'm just sewing the bottom like this. So if you wouldn't mind, and you made it this far into the video, please don't forget to stick around. If you would like to see the cardigan completely finished and done, that means I'll have the sleeves on, the pockets will be done, and then of course in the last video, if you watched it, we sewed on buttons. Once we are done sewing on the pockets, I will show you how to do the border for your scarf, so that way it can be an accessory for your cardigan. The other thing too, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and comment on this video. Let me know what you think. Give me suggestions. Let me know if I'm doing something you don't like, or you want me to change something. Oh, and let me know about the music and my desk. If you like this wallpaper, I wanted to try something different and pretty. Okay, so we are nearing the end, or excuse me, we are nearing the other side since I was talking so much. And there you go. So you want to make sure that your bottom is lined up, your colors, not your bottom. Make sure your colors are lined up. That's one nice thing about this sewing, is that you can line these colors up real nicely, and then that way you know if you sewed it correctly. Okay, so we are coming up on the side just like this. Turn your work, and then I'm just going to go into this stitch and this stitch right here, and I'm going to try and line up my stitches as best as I can. The best thing you can do is you can pull it apart like this, and you can see where you have sewn into and where the stitches are lining up, and then move your fingers down just like this. I know I have shown you how to sewn stuff like this many times. Okay, so I will meet you down at the other end, and then we will rethread our needle and sew our pocket onto our cardigan. Alrighty, so we finally made it to the top right up here. So you're just going to put your needle right into there for that very last stitch, and then we are also going to fasten off. And the best way to fasten off, I know my yarn tails are in the way, so if I can move them real quickly, just tuck them in there. There we go. Okay, so another easy way to fasten off, let's say you had those sewn in, you're going to go into the top right here, if I can find it. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to put your fingers and make a loop. Okay, just like that. Then you're going to go back into those stitches like this. You're going to go up, you're going to go under that loop, put your finger over here and make a new loop and pull up and pull down, go back through that last loop and pull nice and tight. And guess what? You sewed in and fastened off, and on top of that, no one sees that knot. And then at this point, you can just cut your thread. And as you can see, now no one can see it. And you can take a look around, and there you go. Everything is nice and tucked in. You might see a little bit of thread, but it's not gonna be very noticeable, and not a lot of people are gonna see it. And as for this part right over here, we're gonna grab our thread and pull out these bunny ears, and we are going to cut these off. Okay, so what I like to do is pull them out and then cut them close to the thing, just like that, and that's how you cut your bunny ears. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the cardigan, and we're going to put this pocket where I have my stitch markers for the cardigan. Yes, I'm showing you that I have one stitch marker here, one here, and one down at the bottom, so I know exactly where I want my pocket. So let me grab that and let's get to sewing. Alrighty, we are back. Here is the cardigan. Now you can put it on either side if you like. Now I have a stitch marker up here and a stitch marker over here, and I have one down here at the bottom, just like I showed you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the cardigan so that way we can see this better. Okay, there we go. Hopefully we can see all the stitch markers. Okay, so this is going to be on my left side, and as you can see, that's where the buttons are. So we're going to start on the button side. So I'm going to put the pocket right here and line it up with the stitch markers. So I'm going to put one of my stitch markers into one of the stitches of my pocket, and then do the same thing on this side as well. So I'll just turn my stitch marker like this, and then I'll put it into one of the stitches right here. That way we can secure the pocket. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so there we are. I have the stitch markers, and they are actually into the pockets. And then I'm going to do the same thing for down here. So we'll move the pocket up a little bit. Hopefully we can get it right on that stitch. So there we go. Okay, so into that stitch, and then into these stitches right here. Okay, we're going to try and line it up with the bottom. Should move it over a little bit. We'll move it over to right here in between the purple and the blue, so it's more in the middle like this. So when we sew this all the way around, it will be more lined up, along with, as you can see, this side is the granny, is the triangle or the granny stripe that we used. On this side is going to be the wave border. Okay, so there we go. Everything is set up and ready to go. Make sure you have your thread and it does not have little knots in it like mine does. So I'm going to undo these knots, and then we're going to get to sewing. Alright, so I finally have my thread untangled. Took me a minute. Okay, so we are going to start in the corner right here. And the best thing you want to do is put your hand underneath right here. That way you don't sew your cardigan together if you have it folded like I do. And I'm going to try and come in a little closer here. I'll just move the cardigan out from underneath. Okay, so the best thing that you can do is you can get pins. That is another really good thing that you can do. So what we're going to do is I am going to put my needle right into Okay, so you're going to put your needle into both of your pockets, and you're just going to try and go into your cardigan like this. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to try and zoom in as best as I can, like this. Okay, so you're going to try and go into your cardigan. We're going to make, we're going to try and make that loop again. Okay, so we're going to try and make that loop again. So there's your loop, okay? And then you're going to put your needle right through there and just keep pulling. Okay, and I like to make this nice and straight. Like that. Okay, nice and straight, and then tighten. Okay, so there we go. Try not to squeeze your work. You're going to go into the next stitch like this. Now, if you already know how to sew pockets on, then go ahead and use your method. Okay, but this is how we're going to do it. Okay, and just keep pulling like that. And what I'm going to try and do is put my thumb inside of here while I'm trying to sew the pocket like this. Okay, and I'm going to try and do the in and out method just like we just did with the pockets. Okay, if you don't like that method, you can also whip stitch. And whip stitch, pretty much you go over like this, and then you'll go into your stitches. We're going to try and not do that. Okay, we're going to try and go into the stitches and just find stitches on the cardigan to go into. And that way we can hide our thread. So that way our pockets actually look like they're part of the cardigan. And if you have to, every once in a while, you can put your pocket down like this and flatten it so you can see where you're actually sewing into. Okay, so then that way you know where you need to go into next. I'm trying to get this nice and close so that way you can see it without being too close, and then it's too far away and you can't see it. So that's all I'm doing, is going into the stitches. I'm sorry this is taking so long. If you don't want to sew your pockets, or you don't want pockets, you don't have to have them. But this is one way to sew on pockets, okay? There's many different ways. I'm just trying to show you a very easy way to do this. And all I'm doing is I'm finding stitches on the cardigan, and then I'm trying to go through these stitches that I have already sewn through. Okay, and that is how I'm getting both pockets. So I'm getting both the front pocket and I'm getting the back pocket. So that way it's sewn onto the cardigan. And I'm trying to remember, okay, I did this stitch, now I gotta go into that stitch. And I'm trying to go close to far away. And if you have to, you can go a little bit further into the cardigan like I'm doing, and then just kind of pull on it, but don't pull on it too tight. And then I'm going back through the stitches so I know it's these ones right here, right next door. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am slowly going to crochet, I am slowly going to sew this pocket onto the cardigan. And I apologize if you can't see very well. I'm trying my best. And if you have to, you can put your finger there. So that way you can slowly know, okay, that was this stitch. Now it's this stitch. So I'm just going to go up and over. And you can also pull your pocket apart to see the stitch that you're going into. So don't ever think that you have to keep your pocket down. Go ahead and pull on your pockets. You can pull on your pocket and be like, did I get it into those stitches? Does it feel like it's actually sewn into the cardigan? And then make sure to slowly pull it nice and tight. Not too tight because you don't want to pull on these stitches and make them look bunchy. Okay, so I will meet you down here at the end, and then we'll go across. And then of course you know how to do the other side, okay? So this is how you sew on the pocket. Meet you down at the end. Alrighty, so I made it down at the bottom here. Okay, so the best thing you're going to want to do is rotate your work towards you like this. Now for me it's a little difficult because I'm working on a desk, and so I'm trying to show you how I'm doing this. So here we go. We're rotating our work. You can also go under stitches too if you cannot get into the stitches. That was another thing I was trying to tell you as well. So if you can't get into your stitches, make sure you're going through both of your pockets. But if you can't go through your stitches, go under your stitches. And then all you'll do is just rotate your work. Maybe also sewing it on a table might help as well. Now for something like this, you'll just try and go into as many stitches as you can. I'm sorry, the flap here on my cardigan just keeps grabbing onto my thread. Okay, so we're gonna go through stitches, and I'm gonna try and go through both of the pockets. And if you need to, you know, pull up on your pocket to make sure you're going through both of those pockets. And then this is all you'll be doing. I'm just taking it nice and slow, going into stitches just like this as much as I can, and then just pulling, and then just kind of moving over a little bit like this. I just move right over like this, and then I go up through the next portion of my pocket like this. The only reason why I'm squeezing it is because my thread is already through, and then I want to flatten it so that way I am not trying to double sew my cardigan and then we have a little bit of a problem and I have to redo it. And your thread is going to get caught on everything, so that's why I say go nice and slow, so that way if your thread gets caught you can untangle it real quickly and make sure. Yeah, so this is how you will sew your pocket on. I am going to finish going across over here. The best thing I would suggest is keep your cardigan nice and flat, so that way it's easier for you to get your pocket nice and straight. So when you are sewing your pocket around, it is straight the way that you want it. And like I said, also get some pins too, so you can pin it, and as you reach that pin, just pull it out. Now what I'm going to do is, when I get all the way around and I'm up here, we are going to sew this portion of the pocket to the cardigan, so that way you're not constantly sticking your hand in two different pockets, and one of them you lose stuff and the other one you do not. If you don't want to sew the back portion, you don't have to, then you'll just sew all the way around until you get to, my stitch marker is actually off. So for mine, I'm going to stop right here where this is. So if you do not want to sew that all the way around, right where that stitch marker is for the second pocket, the back pocket, that is where you will stop. Okay, so right there is where you will stop, and you will just fasten off. Okay, so I will meet you at the top. Take your time and go slow. All right, we are back. I am working on this side. Now this one is not difficult or hard, okay? Don't make this out to be super difficult or super hard. And the reason why is because I know you're gonna have these holes, okay? The best thing that I'm going to suggest is when you are sewing, so let's say I'm going into here and you're like, where do I go next? These are going to be your stitches that you can go into right here, okay? So find stitches that you can go into. If you're like, oh, well, I don't have any more stitches. Yes, you do. You have more stitches right back here, okay? So you can go right into those. I was into this one right here, okay? So you can go right into those stitches, okay? And then just slowly pull on them, okay? So then that way you're not tightening them, bunching them up, And that's okay if you kind of bunch them up. Nobody's really going to see your back of your cardigan unless you're showing it to them, okay? So just go right into these bunchy stitches right here. And if you have to, just go over like this in order to get to your next set of stitches, you know? Don't even worry about it. Don't make this out to be really super difficult. And even if they do see those stitches, that's okay, because at least they know that you worked on it and that you did it yourself. You know, you took pride into your work instead of someone else doing this. And see, as you pull on it, this starts to slowly hide within the work. Okay, so just slowly take your time. Take your time, okay, going into each stitch and just kind of figuring out, oh, okay, well, when I go into this stitch, where can I go next? You can just grab the one that's right underneath it and just put your needle right into there, and then you can go back right through, just like that. And even if you miss stitches, that's okay. That happens. You're gonna miss stitches. Sewing is an art form, and it takes time to, you know, kind of get it right and figure out how to sew. So I am slowly coming up. I wanted to come back on camera and kind of show you my progress update and let you know, don't make this out to be really super difficult, because this is really not difficult. If you just take your time and find those stitches like I did here. See, I found those stitches, and as you can see on the back, it's starting to look like I didn't even sew it, but I did. You know, I'm just slowly taking my time. And even if you did go through your stitches and you can see them on the back, it doesn't matter, because no one's going to see it. Okay, as long as you are happy with your project, it really shouldn't matter what other people think. Okay, so we're coming right up to the very end. I'm just slowly finding stitches to go into and to sew into it. Now here's the other thing too. Let's say, like for mine right now, I'm getting to the point where I don't have very much thread, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten off at the very top here. Now if you're happy with the way that your pocket is, then that's fine. Fasten off right here. We are going to move this stitch marker, or else it will become a problem and it will get into your way. Okay, so you just remove it, put it off to the side. And so at this point, where these little yarn tails are that are irritating me, I'm just gonna stick them into the pocket so that way it can get in here. I'm just gonna go up through these stitches right here. If you're wondering what that is 3 double crochets all into that same stitch. Okay, so now like we did on this side right here, I'm just gonna fasten it off just like that. So I'm just gonna yarn over like this, put my needle back into those stitches and pull through and make a loop, pull down, pull through that loop with your needle, put your finger into this loop, if I can get it, this loop right here. Okay, it is a little twisted, it happens. I'm going to just move my needle all the way. I'm going to pull up with this finger and down with the needle finger. Then I have a new loop, and I'm going to put my needle, not thread, right through that loop and tighten. And when you hear that click, that also means that you made a knot. Now I just go back through when I do that. And then I just grab my scissors real quick, and I'm going to cut off my yarn, thread, yarn, same difference. And then I'm going to re-thread this, okay? And then I'm going to show you how to sew the back. Now this video is going to be a tad longer because we also have to do the scarf border. Then at the end of the video, I might show you, at the end of the video, I might actually do a full reveal of the cardigan with the sleeves on. So that's why this video came out a little bit later instead of on the weekend. But at least you got content, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to pull out this stitch marker over here because I'm done with it. I'm going to re-thread my needle, and we are going to finish sewing this because I do not want 2 pockets and I don't want to lose stuff. If you want 2 pockets, that's fine. It's still really cool. You can still have a double pocket like this, or you can have a really warm pocket. But I am going to sew that, and then we're just going to have the 1 pocket. Okay, so I'll be back. We're going to sew this, and then we're going to get started on the scarf border. Okay, we are back, and I have moved the cardigan so that way you can see the bottom of the pocket of where we're going to be sewing. I'm also going to be moving my lights closer so that way you can see this. My camera is actually sitting on the cardigan. I have it pretty much flattened out like a blanket. Okay, so we are going to start this. So to start this, you're going to move your yarn tails out of the way. Now another thing you can also do too is, I forgot this, you can tie them together like this. Okay, and then you can grab your scissors, and you guessed it, you can snip them off. Okay, and that is another way you can get rid of your yarn tails. Okay, so since we're going to be sewing this piece, I don't need to be connecting it over here on the side. So we're going to start here. I'm going to put my needle into this stitch and into the purple stitch, and I'm going to pull through, and you guessed it, we are going to find that loop. There it is. I'm going to put my needle right into it, and then I'm going to pull nice and tight, just like that. Now if you don't like that method, you can also go back into that stitch and pull through one more time, making a loop, and then pull tight. So then that way you have 2 loops, and that one is double secured, if that is something you wish to do. I'm going to try and get nice and close. We are going to do the in and out method. The other thing you can do is the whip stitch method, and that is where you will go over like this, go through your stitch, go over. That is something you can do. I don't want people to see my thread. I really don't. So I'm just going to go and do the in and out method. And I am just going to go right down the pocket, trying to go into stitches just like this. I'm going to try and go nice and slow. Now if you feel like you're too close to the edge of your pocket, what you can do is go in a little bit more like I have here. So that is something that you can do. So hopefully this is helpful and you have sewn on your pocket. I have only done 1 pocket. I have to sew on the other pocket, and then I also have to crochet my sleeves. Now I'm sorry that this is far away. I will try and make it a little closer, that way you can see it. And I'm sorry if my arm is in the way as well. I'm trying to keep it out of the way of the camera. Now don't let things on your cardigan bother you, like this little bump right here. That is really not going to bother me. I'm just going to go into that stitch right there, in between those blue stitches, and just sew. And when your thread gets tangled, just pull it out slowly. Okay, so I will meet you down at the other end. Hopefully you were able to see this. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm putting my finger in between my cardigan as I'm sewing, and I have a dull needle. So that way I do not poke myself when I am sewing my pocket. When you have sharp needles, you can poke yourself real easily. Okay, so I'm just going to finish sewing on this pocket, and I will be back shortly. Alrighty, we are coming up on the end, and how you know that is because of these tails right here. So that will be our end point real quick. So let me just get into these last few stitches in there. See, I just did a whip stitch. That was my bad. That is okay, it happens. You're gonna do that. Okay, last bit. Actually, I'm gonna go into one more stitch. I want to be really close to that stitch marker. or excuse me, yarn tail. Okay, so now we are going to fasten off. So I'm going to go back up through that stitch, pull out my finger, and I'm going to put it onto my thread so I can make this loop. Okay, and the way that I do it is I put my needle through that loop, pull out, put my finger here, pull until I make a new loop, pull up, pull down, and back into that loop. Now a lot of times you're not always going to hear that click, but a lot of times you will. And then I will just go back into that stitch one last time, grab my scissors, and cut. Okay, and then I will put this off to the side. And I'm going to pull out the camera. And that is what the pocket looks like. So when you are wearing it, you will be able to put your hand in it, and it's pretty nice and deep, as you can see. And it will be very warm for the winter. Okay, so this cardigan is kind of like a, I'm gonna say summer. No, not summer. This would be too hot in the summer. This would be more like spring, fall, and winter. Okay, because you do have these holes in here, and that would be more for like a little bit cooler weather, but not super cold like winter time. Maybe. You could try it in the winter. I haven't tried it. This will be the first time. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the scarf border. Hopefully you enjoyed doing the pocket with me. I am going to sew on the other pocket, and then I'm also going to sew on my sleeves. Okay, so let me grab the yarn for the scarf and let's get started with the scarf border. Alrighty, so we are back, and I grabbed my scarf and the little bit left over of the light blue, or the Baja blue that I had, and then these little balls of yarn that we see back here. This is called Burdette Baby yarn, and it's in a blue color, so I'm going to be using this once this yarn is done. So once you grab your sleeve, excuse me, it's not your sleeve, this is your scarf. You may go into any corner of your scarf that you wish. We are still using the 5.75 millimeter crochet hook. You can use any crochet hook that you would like and any yarn that you would like. This is going to be the border of your scarf. I am starting down here at the bottom where the scarf is. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a slip knot. Okay, and then you're just going to put your hook right into that spacing right there. You don't need to go into any of the stitches. Pull your loop through, move your yarn tail out of the way, yarn over and pull through, and then I like to pull tight on that and then make a chain one. We're going to be doing single crochets into each of these spacings right here. So we're going to put 2 single crochets into this spacing. So what I like to do is into every spacing put 2 single crochets, and I like to crochet my yarn tails in with my single crochets. As you can see right there, that is my yarn tail, and it is within my work. So every spacing, 2 single crochets. And when I get to this portion right here, you can put 2. I normally just put 1 because that'll be the middle of your triangle. As you can see right there, it's upside down. This is the top and this is the middle. I put 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets into the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get to the end right here, and then I'll show you how to get over that piece. Now if you have all these little yarn tails like I do, I am just going to crochet them right into the project. I'm not going to cut them off until later. Now we've gotten to this part right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 single crochets right into this spacing right here, and into this spacing I'm just going to put 1 single crochet right into that big spacing. There we go. So that way it will close off the hole, because when you are crocheting you want to close off that big spacing. And then I'm just gonna My crochet hook got caught. Now I'm just going to put 2 single crochets into every single spacing. So when you get to this section right here, you'll put 2 right in here. You'll put 1 into the spacing and then 2 into the spacing. If you want, you can put 2 into this spacing. It's your choice. I'm going to single crochet all the way down the line. As you can see, this is a really long scarf. When I get to this section right here, I'm just going to put 2 into here and 2 into here and go right over that bump. Into every corner right here, you're going to put 4 single crochets just to turn that corner. Okay? And then you'll come all the way back around. And when you get to this spacing right here, you will put 2 single crochets, since we already have 2, and you'll slip stitch. I'll meet you down at the other end. Okay, we are back, and I actually made it down at the other end of the scarf. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put 2 single crochets right into this spacing, and into this spacing I'm going to put 2 single crochets. Now I came back on camera because we have some stitches here. And what I forgot to mention is we are going to be going into 2 of those stitches instead of all 3 of them. So this is how we're going to do it. You're going to put 2 single crochets right into this big spacing right here. Okay. Move my light. I'm going to move in a little bit further. Now, here we have a cluster that has 3 stitches in it. Now I just put 2 single crochets into there, so we are going to skip that stitch and into these 2 stitches. Here comes Sonia. We're going to put a single crochet right into that stitch and a single crochet right into that stitch. Okay, just like that. That's my baby girl right there. She wants to say hello. Hi Sonia, how you doing? She's so cute. She's going to sit on the desk while I do this real quick. Okay, so into the next stitch, she's going to ask for petties while we do this. Here she comes. So cute. Into this big spacing right here, okay, into that one, you're going to put a single crochet. We are skipping that stitch. And into the next one, oh, here she comes, here she comes. See? She's just trying to ask for pettings while my fingers are sticking out. You're going to put 2 single crochets into that stitch. I'm going to try and finish this while she's asking for petties. I apologize. Okay, so 1 single crochet into the spacing. Skip the stitch. Don't pull it apart to look for a new stitch. Into the 2 stitches right there. Hold on, let me give her petties, because she's putting her face right onto the camera. And then into the big spacing right there. I am so sorry. She is just like, no, please stop recording. Into the big space. Put a single crochet. We're almost done. We're almost done. Skip that stitch right there, because there are 3 stitches. Okay, you do not pull this apart and put it in there. We put a single crochet into that stitch. So that way we could. Sonia, can you please stop? Please, 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 please. Mama is trying to record. Please, 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 please. She won't stop. I'm sorry. 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Here she is. Please, please, please. Sonia, come on. Come on, baby girl. Back up. I'm going to back her up a little bit so we can finish this. 1 single crochet. So, single crochet into the spacing. Skip the stitch. 2 single crochets into the stitches and 4 single crochets all into, whoa, all into the big stitch. She's not listening. She's not listening. I am sorry. I apologize. But you know to put 4 single crochets into this big stitch. Then you will turn your work. Let me move my crochet hook so she does not get hurt. Okay, she just wants pettings. That's what she wants. And I'm trying to move this. Okay, so when you turn your work after you put 4 single crochets into there, 2 single crochets into each of the stitches. If you want to put 1 into the middle one, you can. I just put 1. Okay, we're back, and Sonia is off of the desk. So as I was saying, when you get to So what I was pretty much saying was we put 2 single crochets in here, you skip that stitch, and into the next 2 stitches you put single crochets in each of those stitches. 1 single crochet into here, skip the stitch, 2 single crochets, single crochet in the space, skip the stitch, 2 single crochets into those 2 stitches. As you turn the corner, you will be putting 4 single crochets into this spacing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so that way you can turn that corner and you can make yourself a really nice little corner. Then into every spacing, again, you will just put 2 single crochets. I'm only going to do 1 entire row of this, and then I am going to show off the cardigan. So that way we can get to finishing this video. What I was saying earlier is if you would like, you can add more rows to make this nice and thick. Okay, so if you don't like the thinness of this scarf, you can make it thicker. So all you would do is you would just put 1 single crochet into every stitch, keep going until you have as many rows as you would like and making it thicker. Okay, so I am just going to finish single crocheting around the next side until I get to the end. I'll slip stitch, we'll walk away from my desk, and we will get to revealing that beautiful cardigan, and I will show you what it looks like, because I know you all are so excited. I'm also going to grab tape measure and I'm going to measure the cardigan. I'll measure the sleeves, I'm going to measure the sides, I'm going to measure the back, everything. Okay, so then that way you have an idea of the measurements that I have for my cardigan. And again, as I was saying, I apologize for not putting out videos. I have been in a financial hardship, and I keep losing my job and then getting a new job and then losing my job. So I just lost one of my jobs, and now I finally got into another job, and so that's why I haven't put out videos in about 4 weeks, due to the fact that well, it's been about 14 days since I have put out a video. So I apologize. Now that I'm into a new place and I'm more organized, I will be putting out videos. I am going to try and put out a video every weekend. So you will get a video Saturday and Sunday, and if I'm feeling like I can get out more videos, you will get one Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to try and change up the videos to where they're going to be a little bit, instead of having a series like this one with the cardigan, what I'm end up going to doing is try making the video an hour long. If I feel the video is too long, then you will get 2 videos. One will be 30 minutes and then one will be an hour. Okay, so that way if we're doing a cardigan, we can finish it a lot quicker. Now you also have to remember that each cardigan does take about a week for me to crochet. So I have to do a research on the cardigan that I want and the stitches that I'd like to do. So I don't want you thinking that you can do a cardigan within an hour. Unless I state in the video or I state in the thumbnail that this cardigan was done in an hour, I apologize, but cardigans are not done in an hour. Unless you use really big, thick yarn and a really big hook. Then you can do a cardigan in about an hour. So enough talking. I will meet you down at this end right here, and then we'll get to revealing the cardigan. Okay, I'll see you shortly. Alright, so we made it all the way down to the end, and I just put 2 single crochets into that stitch, and then I'm going to go over to this stitch right here, this opening, and I'm going to put 2 single crochets all into that spacing. I'm going to skip that double crochet and into the stitch. That means when you turn it like this, you can see stitches. You'll go right into that stitch and make a single crochet, and into the next stitch, single crochet. Into the spacing, you're going to put a single crochet. We're going to skip that one into the next stitch, you'll put a single crochet. Into the next stitch, you'll put a single crochet. Into the spacing, you'll put a single crochet. Into the next 2 stitches, you'll put 1 single crochet. And now we are finally at the end. This is where you're going to put 2 single crochets all into the stitch. Move that out of the way. Into the very first stitch from the very beginning, you will put a slip stitch. If I can find it real quick. Right there. Go into the stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up the loop, and pull right through. And then you'll just fasten off. I'm only going to do 1 round, so that way we can finally reveal the cardigan. So let me just show you what this looks like real quick. Okay, so that's what 1 row will look like. Okay, and this is going to be your accessory for your cardigan. Okay, so you can use this for your cardigan as an accessory or by itself. Okay, so let's move away from the desk, and I'm going to go find a really good spot, and then I'm going to reveal the cardigan to you and let you know the measurements. Okay, so we'll be back shortly. Okay everyone, we are back, and I am getting ready to reveal the cardigan. You ready? Here we go. Now, this is my living room floor. So as you can see, this is the cardigan. I'm going to try and move in closer so you can see it to its full length. But this is what it looks like fully done. Okay, so now we're going to talk about measurements. Let me grab my notepad real quick. Okay, so I'm going to get down here on the floor. We're going to start right here where the sleeve is. Now the sleeve that you see right here is going to be 17 inches long from where my finger is all the way to here. That's 17 inches long. Okay, from here to here is 7 inches long, and then the wider part is from here to here is 7.5 inches long. Now as we move over, sorry I had to sit down, to the cardigan, okay, what we are getting for a measurement is going to be 30 inches in length. So from the top of the cardigan all the way down to here is 30 inches long. For the width of the cardigan, from here all the way to there is 29 inches wide. Now, if we are talking just the front of the triangles, so from here to where the border is started, that is, give me a second, 6 inches wide, and then just from the triangle to triangle is going to be 5.5 inches wide. Now as for the border, what I did was at the top of the border right here where you see this little loop, from there all the way down to here, that one was 32.5 inches long. The border itself is actually going to be 7 inches wide. So from here, where that starting point is, all the way to a peak, that will be 7 inches wide. Now moving on to the pocket. So the pocket itself, the top of the pocket right here, all the way down to here is 7.5 inches. And then from the side of the pocket all the way to the other side is going to be 6.5 inches wide. So there is, let me get up for a second. There is the cardigan. Okay, it's really nice, it's very beautiful, and it fits perfectly. And there's my notepad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video real quick. I'm going to try it on, and no, I'm not going to do a face reveal, so don't ask. And you will get to see it on my actual body, so that way you get to see that it fits nicely. Okay, so let's get to that one. Okay, so we're back. Hopefully you enjoyed that reveal of the cardigan. Here's another reveal of it. Here it is sitting on my desk. This is the scarf. So this is the end of the video. Thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully you crocheted the cardigan with me. Until next time, hopefully we will make these videos a lot shorter. Don't forget, scroll down, hit the like button so I know that you're enjoying this video. Don't forget to subscribe so I know that I can see you in my sub box or my sub club. And until next time, bye everyone. Have a great day.